What's up, everybody? You are listening to Unfiltered this morning with Pastor Jason Gaszak on Real Talk Radio Network. We just want to say thank you for tuning in today. You know that you can listen in every Saturday right here on 93.3 at 7 a.m. or Sunday at 8 a.m. Or you can also listen in on the Real Talk Radio app. This morning it is myself, Austin. I'm your host today with Becca Carmen. Hello, Becca.
Hey.
And Eric Stable.
What's up?
What's up, guys? So Pastor Jason is out of town this weekend, and it's been a couple of months since we've been called. The reserves have been called up, and so we've got a good show for you guys this morning. If you're wondering what this show is about, it's really all about having a platform for Pastor Jason to share unfiltered views from a pastor's perspective. I think so many times, we have a idea in our minds about what it is that pastors' roles should be, and really, when it comes down to it, this platform is to kind of break that ideology, and so this is a show about social and political issues, but our ultimate goal is to share God's word along with our personal opinions on these topics. So we're going to jump right on in here this morning. It's a beautiful, wintry day. And man, fall was over really quick. I don't know if I like it.
I know I don't like it.
It's crazy.
I miss the sun.
Yeah, I do too. It's dark now at like 4:30, right as we leave the office.
Will you go to work when it's dark? You come home when it's dark.
Yeah.
This is adulting, I guess.
Yeah. So, but So Becca, what do we got coming up here at Roots? I know we have a couple of big things on the way, and we wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff coming up for our Roots Weekend guests and partners, but we have some really exciting things for the community also. We're partnering with the city of St. Clair here in St. Clair, Missouri, and for their event, a St. Clair Christmas Story. That's on December 10th. It's an all-day event. It's a free winter festival, has all kinds of fun stuff like photos with Santa, breakfast with Santa, ornament making, live music, barrel rides, like all kinds of stuff. There's something for everybody in the family. So we're excited to partner with them on that on December 10th. And then here at Roots, we have our Christmas experiences the following weekend.
Woot woot.
Yeah, we're super excited. We got a lot of work going into it. It's an incredible time to try out a church, to bring someone to church. We really pour a lot into these weekend experiences, knowing we have a lot of first-time guests or a lot of people who haven't maybe made it to church in a little while. So we're super excited for those on the 17th and 18th of December.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. The St. Clair Christmas Story, going back to that, have you guys ever been to the streets of St. Charles, the Christmas?
Like their main street thing?
Yeah.
No.
You have not. But
But I know what you're talking about.
I haven't heard about it, but no, I haven't been.
So if you guys are listening, it's going to be our version of that. And by I mean ours, I mean the city of St. Clair. We're partnering with them. We're partnering with the Chamber of Commerce here. We're partnering with our downtown district, a bunch of local churches from St. Clair and the surrounding areas, and then also the local businesses as well. So it's gonna be next level. There's gonna be a parade to end the night. It's from 9 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m. Of course, you don't have to stay the whole time, but you can come and go as you please. There's gonna be food vendors. I mean, it's gonna be legit.
Like Hallmark Christmas comes to Franklin County. It's gonna be amazing.
So we spread the word. You can follow it, the event on Facebook. What's that handle, or how do they find that?
The Facebook page is a St. Clair Christmas Story, or you can go online to www.stcchristmas.org for all the details.
And you can email info@stcchristmas.org if you have any questions. Vendors are full. We have all the volunteers positions are full. So we just want you to come and be a part
need the community to come
of this event. So
awesome.
And and we got Christmas experiences coming up, like you said, as well. Times and dates are going to be TBD.
We'll be releasing that next week. So be on the lookout. Follow the Roots page. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Go to our website. It's going to be out there everywhere.
Yeah, just Google My Roots Church, and we will pop up probably. So, well, cool. So what else do we have on the agenda here, guys? Anything in this first segment?
In the first segment, I mean, I got lots of stuff to talk about, but
yeah.
I don't know if we got enough time before the commercial break.
Are you saving yourself?
I'm saving myself.
Saving your words of wisdom.
The words
Eric's
of
been
wisdom.
planning this out.
Well, the Bible says that a man who talks a lot is foolish, so I guess I'll be foolish for the next.
Yeah, you be the foolish one.
No, but yeah, we've got a lot of great things happening here in the community, and some of the things that we're going to be talking about today on the show. We've only got an hour with you guys, which it goes by so stinking quick.
It really does.
And we were sitting in the cafe the other morning prepping for the show. And we got into such good conversation. Like, man, we should just bring the mics out like right now.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, so we put a lot of work into this. Pastor Jason puts a lot of work into this, and we hope you guys are enjoying this. But in the next segment, we're going to be talking a little bit. We're going to be deep diving into kind of the political landscape that we find ourselves in. I know that there was a big announcement this past week from former President Donald J. Trump. There was also, there's something so official about that.
I was going to say that
Donald J.
middle initial.
Trump, you know? But, you know, he's got a big announcement that he made. And then also the flip in the seats in the House. Guys, I am a political junkie when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I can't wait to talk about that. And we're really going to tie that into biblical, perspectives. Yeah. You know, this is not just about a platform for us to rant about what we don't like or what we do like about what is happening before us. And then also in segment 3, we're going to kind of bring in a little bit more of that spiritual side of things as well, talking about divisiveness and revival. And then in the last segment, we're just going to have some fun. So this is going to be a great, great show today. We've got 4 minutes here before the break. And I think really what I wanted to talk about was something that it's a little controversial. It's a TV show I've been watching. Have you guys heard of Homeland?
Yes.
Is it the blonde girl?
Yes.
Yes.
And I started this probably a month ago. I'm in season 3 or 4 right now. I can't remember, but I mean, the whole thing just kind of brings to light the things that are unseen in our government. I mean, movies are based on things that real life experience,
Right. What's conspiracy? What's not conspiracy?
Yeah. And so I just found it so I'm in love with the show because it keeps me on the edge of my seat. It's like a Jason Bourne type thing, but the protagonist is a female. It's pretty cool. And it's got the guy that was in Criminal Minds. He played
I'm not good
Gideon. He played Gideon in Criminal Minds. You'll know who it is if you've seen that. But so, anywho, I've been watching that. Man, I can't wait to finish that show.
So what do you think? Like, what's the one thing that stuck out to you that you're like, ooh, that's probably happening right now in our country?
Yeah, so they have kill lists. The CIA has kill lists. I'm probably on that now after saying that.
They're listening.
No, I for real. I mean, that was something that really stood out to me. That's something that we don't, as Americans, really think about. And the lengths that we go to as a country to protect the homeland. I think that's interesting. I think the question I have for you guys, maybe even from a biblical perspective, is what are your guys' thoughts on some of the methods and tactics that you hear about? What is does the means what is that saying? Ends justify the means?
Yeah.
I mean,
is it worth what it took to get there?
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I feel like it's so hard because, well, as a spouse of a prior military serviceman, I know that he's gone through a lot of things and has been, for example, as an employee of the U.S. Army, like, they're not governed necessarily by the same laws. Like, we talk about, like, equal, like, opportunities for, like, employers and stuff, the EEO stuff. And so just on the base level of being an employee is so different than anywhere else that it's almost like a double standard. And it's hard for me to see because I feel like that goes against everything we believe in. And so then you talk about how they treat people, or like, I know a couple people who on their deployments, like, treated these citizens of other countries so poorly. And it's like, it's totally fine and it's okay. And I have a hard time with all of that because at what point do you stop being a human to justify what your agenda is, which honestly, I might catch something for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I truly feel like in most cases, the military is just a pawn for a political agenda. And so anything that comes from that, I have a hard time believing is justified.
Yeah.
because it stems from something that seems corrupt.
Yeah, and that doesn't discount their sacrifice or their service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, I mean, your husband literally has done that his whole life. So, but I think that's a unique perspective that is an unpopular talking point.
Yes,
Is an unpopular opinion, and I think I'm not saying this to be progressive in any way. I'm not. I really don't feel that way. But what I am trying to say is, I feel like for so long we've had these Western eyes. Yeah, we view everything through what nationalist kind of viewpoints, and I think that that's necessary. But I don't know.
I love my country, but I love people too.
Yeah, and
so
I think
where
that's
do we
a
draw
hard,
the line?
and especially as Christians, that's what I'm that's what I'm saying. So where do we draw that line? I don't know. But we are out of time for this segment. We'll pick this up. Yeah, we'll pick this up here on the other side of the break. And we are back. You're listening to Unfiltered this morning. We're glad that you're listening. In the last segment, we're talking a little bit about a TV show that I've been watching, and it kind of brought up some questions. And so we were talking about, what is our role when it comes to, whenever the interest of our nation, America, when those interests sometimes cross over to how we treat other people in other countries. And so I think for me, the question that I had to kind of continue where we left off is, as a Christian, what does that look like for us? Because we obviously want to have patriotism. We obviously are proud of our country. We obviously value sacrifice, all of those awesome things that we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be the nation we are today without our military, without our history. But where do Christians fit into all this? Is there an extreme view? Is there a balanced view in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there has to be a balanced view in all of it. I have a unique perspective. I mean, the last place that I lived, there was a very large military population, and it was crazy working in the church in that time because there were people that, let's just say, that morning they killed 10 people with a drone from America, and they're operating a drone over in the Middle East, and they killed 10 people, and that night they're coming to serve at the church, and they're having to deal with and process all of that. And it gave me a unique perspective into their lives and into our role, I feel like, as Christians in supporting our military, but also supporting the gift that God's given us here in America. Yeah. We do see things through Western eyes, but we have Western eyes as well. So it's not that we don't need to see things through Western eyes, but we need to be balanced about it. But we do have to realize that the gift that God's given us here in America is freedom. And so just like in the Bible, all the wars and the different things that they were to protect they were to protect that nation ultimately. And so for us as Americans, even though we're over there fighting whatever, ultimately I view it as it's protecting the gift that God's given us, and it's protecting our freedom. And we need to steward that, because if we don't steward that, man, we're going to be just like the nations that we're over there, in right now. And so I think it's part of our responsibility as Christians in America. Now, there might be other responsibilities for other Christians across the world that they're called to. I don't think it's just a blanket statement like Christianity has, we need to not support this or support this. I don't think that it's that way. Sure. I think God's given every country different gifts and different opportunities to steward. And I think for us, that's part of it. And whether, obviously there's always going to be hidden agendas. There's always going to be those things. But ultimately, it's just like America. Yeah. We were founded on God, right?
Biblical values.
If we can keep that foundation, which is,
what I
feel like we're gonna talk about. Yeah. But if we can keep that foundation and fight for that foundation to stay there, ultimately we'll be where God wants us to be.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I like how you said when you were talking about that as freedom being the gift that God has really given us. And I wrote down on my notes here, we have to steward our gift well. And then you said that, and I thought that was pretty cool because, we that can be taken away.
Yeah.
And if we
100%,
if
yeah.
we don't steward what God has given us, and honestly, it's been not only a gift to us, but if you look at America, it's been a gift to the world. I mean, we have been a safe place for a lot of people, and I think that is why we do the things that we do. I think that, there's always, like you said, there's always going to be corrupt agendas. We live in a fallen world, right?
Right.
I mean, but we still have to do our best as a good citizen. We still have to support our country. We have to, understand that gift of freedom is very, very rare. There's only, we have more and more democracies nowadays, which America is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic, but there is democracy within that. And so I think we have to steward that well. And I think
I will just say this real quick. I think if you're listening today and you are not, and you're a Christian and you're not actively praying for that, if you're not actively praying for our service members that are protecting your freedoms, that you can actually go to church on Sunday, if you're not actively praying for that and actively thinking about that when you're watching the news and reading articles and just saying a quick God bless our troops and really meaning it, not just like a Facebook post, God bless our troops, but like actually meaning that, then I don't believe as Christians we're stewarding, supporting what we can support them in our mind, send thoughts and prayers to them, but we need to support them with what we can. They can support us with going and fighting physically, but we can fight for them on the back end.
Spiritual.
Yeah,
and we have to do that as Christians. Because like I said, there's people that are in America right now that are fighting wars from computer
remotely.
Screens,
Remotely.
and they're going homes and tucking their kids in at night when they just killed people. And we don't think through those eyes, but we need to be praying for them and actually lifting them up when we think about them. So,
and we also need to be praying for our leaders of this country. I mean,
regardless if you're in their party or not,
I
they're
mean,
leading this country where you live.
It's kind of like how it's been told to me in the past is like you're on a boat and the captain of the ship is, you don't like the captain of the ship, so you don't pray for wisdom. Well, he's the one guiding, and whether you like it or not, why would you? Do you want him to wreck you too?
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many times we get tunnel vision on that, and we. But I think where we kind of wanted to transition was to talk a little bit more about the political landscape that we're seeing with some of the election results and things like that. What were you guys' thoughts on the election and the results? I know a lot of people thought it was going to be a red wave.
I called it.
Okay, what'd you say? A red dribble?
No, I called it. I think like I saw the writing on the. I really tried to keep a level head this year, and I mean, I can say I called it, and you guys are just gonna have to believe me.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
But I definitely I was that exactly how I thought it was gonna happen. I thought that the Republicans were gonna take back the House and the Democrats were gonna keep the Senate, and so I didn't ever. I wanted to believe that there was a red wave coming, and I kind of like stirred myself up for that, but I think I definitely This is how I thought it was going to go.
This is interesting. So I was watching a lot of the pundits on TV, and what was so funny to me was that they were expecting either a red wave or a what do you want to call it, a tsunami or whatnot, and then you got CNN, you got MSNBC saying the opposite. But what I see here is complete a split. I mean, the Senate is literally perfectly split. The House, we barely have, the GOP barely has a majority. Governors in this country, we've got 24 Democrat governors, we've got 25 Republican governors. It's split. I just feel like we're seeing this minor change, and it's just flipped. You know what I'm saying? And so, but we're out of time for this segment, and we will be back. We're gonna finish this up on the other side. We'll be right back. And we are back. Welcome back to Unfiltered this morning. We are about halfway through the hour, and man, time flies when you're having fun. And that is the truth.
It is the truth.
We were just talking about that on the break. And so right before we took the break, we were talking about the election results. And we've had basically where we sit right now is 48. The Senate is 48 Democrat and 49 GOP or Republican seats. The Democrats lost 1 seat, and the Republicans gained. The Democrats gained a seat, and the Republicans lost a seat. And then there's 2 seats that are held by independents. So that's that's pretty much straight down the middle. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I don't see much.
Yeah, I mean, from the results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if we added a libertarian party? Then we wouldn't be 50-50.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it, but the House is.
I had this random thought last night.
Yeah.
Like, I was like going to bed, and I was like, what if we just come up with a new party that's like truly conservative?
They've tried.
I know they've tried, but like, I'm like, maybe there's a chance that like we can have like a, because you look at the maps of like, from the 30s and 40s and 50s and how
diversified.
How like diversified everything was, and how like division has truly like set the tone for where we're at now. And I'm like, what if we just kind of restart? But then I'm like, I don't know if that would actually be possible, but
I mean, it is possible.
I mean, sure, it's possible. Yeah,
a constitutional convention would set that up, would set the stage for that.
I think some people are so sick of just the Republican Democrat
Yes.
name,
Yeah.
like the name that's associated with those things. That like, I mean, we're almost to that point where somebody could come in and be like, I'm a whatever, and I'm just running this way.
Well, I mean, in the last presidential election, Jo Jorgensen was the libertarian like nominee. She tried.
Yeah, but
She was,
even
like,
that,
pushing
like
through
people like associate libertarians with like crazy hippies that just smoke a lot of pot.
Yeah.
Really?
And so,
I mean, a lot of people.
I mean,
Well, I do not.
I think
do
that they live in like the desert of Arizona, and they're just out there living in some trailer. And
Oh, I missed that.
No, I agree with you guys. I think it's time for that type of reform. I don't know that we'll ever see it. People are entrenched, and I mean, this proves it. I mean, we thought there was going to be a red wave, but it's always this way. That's what I'm saying. We always think it's going to be this blue wave, or we always think it's going to be this red wave. And what ends up happening? The people that held the House now hold the Senate, and the people that held the Senate now hold the House, and the governorships are divided. You've got half the states are literally GOP red, and you've got the other half that are Democrat blue. I mean, this is what democracy is.
I mean, yes, there are some weird, proven things that like rigging.
Okay,
for sure. There's proven things in there.
We've got an election denier. We've got
there are definitely weird things. I don't know if it would be enough to completely swing it, but I think. I mean, obviously it's happening. It happens all over the world.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening here, but
I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on the Trump announcement from last week?
I'm not super pumped about it, to be honest. I'll just share my own political opinion.
I feel like a lot of people are feeling that way. That's what I've been hearing a lot of.
I would lean conservative probably because of kind of how like things fall as a Christian. I just feel like that party lies more in line with the things that mean the most to me. That does not mean I like everything about that party for sure, but his comment, I think that really kind of tipped the scale for me, was when he called out DeSantis for being a traitor to the Republican Party, when a year ago they were best pals. But now you have a qualified, great leader who is changing things, truly changing things in Florida, and he now wants to call him out as a traitor of his own party just because he didn't get his way. Like, you just don't want good competition. Is that what it is in your own party?
Yeah.
That's not the best for the American people.
Yeah.
That's self-serving yourself.
Yeah. No,
I mean, he's playing the political game.
He's
I know, but I'm still.
You play the Game
mad.
of Thrones. No, I agree. I think that was a little disconcerting for me. Whenever DeSantis has crossed party lines, he's gotten the blue vote.
Yeah,
he really has. I mean, he won against a former governor in Florida, Christ, I think his last name was. I'm not 100% sure, but. And he really has unified Florida in a lot of ways. Of course, it's never going to be 100%, but I think he did an interview the other day, and he's like, no, I'm just focusing on the next 2 years or whatever, 4 years, however long his term is. But I don't know. Eric, what are your thoughts on the whole Trump announcement?
I'm split down the middle. Okay. I think I've been really trying to just keep a level head, like I keep saying. I'm trying not to let hope really cloud my judgment, like
Sure.
hope for, whatever, like lower gas prices or a changed bill here or a changed bill there. Even though I want those things, I'm going to vote for those things for sure. And so if Trump's the candidate, I'm going to vote for him. But I also I don't want to get so like wrapped up in this, like he is going to be the savior of all of my freedoms. When there are other people out there that can provide that same thing without as much open division.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep a level head. Obviously, if he's it, like he's it, I'm gonna vote that way for sure.
Yeah,
but
I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel like I really think he did a lot for our country in those 4 years. I mean,
for sure.
There's
no doubt.
I mean, he was good at what he did. He did.
I miss him.
Yeah,
I miss him.
Yeah.
But I think that we also need a breath of fresh air in that world as well. Yep. But
if he would not be the way he is, like on social media, because what he does is he just casts out division through these platforms. You have these platforms that are being used. Social media is what I'm referring to, but you have these things being used like to alienate people and cause division, and he leads into that, and it's super frustrating because you could be using your influence and your reach for positive things and uplifting things and unifying things, and it's like I feel like half the stuff he posts, he just wants to cause division.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because I'm like, I know you have a speechwriter and a social media strategist and all these things, and I cannot believe they want you to say these things.
They don't want him to say
There's
those
no
things.
way.
But they can't control him because that's who he is. I mean, that's not justification, but that is the truth. I mean, that he's built his brand off of that type of, I mean, I remember the Celebrity Apprentice. I remember Apprentice. I remember, that's always been his thing is like just this brash, harsh, kind of whatever. But I mean, we've got a lot of candidates here, suspected candidates. Obviously, one of them being Joe Biden. I don't believe that even his own party wants him to run again, if I'm being honest with you. But I know a lot of people that are like, man.
But I think if it was him versus Trump, we would have just as close of a race.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Because here's the reason why. I truly believe the reason that Joe Biden won is because the hate for Donald Trump was so strong.
Okay, fair.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And hate, unfortunately, in politics and really anything, hate is a more reactive emotion than it's not really hope, but like support.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like I supported Trump.
Well, in their mind, it's the lesser of two evils.
Right. So it's not that they support Biden. It's that they hated Trump.
Right.
So I'd rather throw my weight to somebody I don't hate and try that out for 4 years, because the last 4 years, in their opinion, was divisive, hellish, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so I really believe that is the reason why Biden is in the White House to begin with. But we've got some candidates here. So Joe Biden is obviously one of them. He's the incumbent. Donald Trump announced formally. Stacey Abrams, I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a Democrat out of Georgia. And so she was defeated. But we've got Pete Buttigieg. You guys have heard of him from the presidential.
Oh, Lord help us.
Yeah. So a lot of things with that. He would be the youngest president. If he was voted in, Buttigieg would become the youngest elected president sworn into office. He would also be the first openly gay president.
I don't know if I should say this or not.
Probably.
Go for it, Eric.
I will say, like, when I picture like what the Antichrist is going to look like, I picture Pete Buttigieg. I don't think that he is, but like I picture like a guy that looks like that.
That's funny though.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Pete.
Sorry, Pete, if you're listening. I don't believe he is.
There's a lot of
He's not loved enough.
There's a lot of female candidates. There's a lot of female, projected candidates. Liz Cheney, out of Wyoming. Ted Cruz is a suspect, in my opinion. He's always going to be running.
He's always like on the fringe, like working his way
I think
in.
as far as Trump's concerned, I would, depending on who he picks for his VP this time, would help me.
So
would help me a lot.
Pence is thinking about running. I mean, he keeps saying he's not, but I mean,
well, he was literally quoted to say that I think we're going to have better
choices. What do you guys
Trump.
think about Candace Owens?
Do
you think that Trump would pick her?
No, Trump would only pick himself. Oh, you
No,
mean
like
for a running mate?
VP.
He should. If he did,
No.
he would. I feel like he would have
No.
much better odds.
You want me to be honest with you?
Yes.
No.
I think okay. I think
Let
he
me
would,
live in my delusion.
I think he might pick Candace. No. I personally, I don't know Trump personally, obviously,
Oh,
but
you don't say.
let me get him on the line really quick. Hey, Trump. No, I really think that he wouldn't be able to
Work with a woman
in that capacity.
Think?
Now here's why I say that. Okay, he was one of the first people in New York to hire a developer that was a female. Like she led the whole thing. I'm just saying, just because of the way that I don't know, I just get this vibe. I don't know. I think like that would be a unifying, strong thing if he would do that.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I think he would be more inclined to pick, even though he's opened his mouth about DeSantis. I think it might be DeSantis.
Well, he opens his mouth, so he has to like take things back all the time.
Yeah.
He could take this.
And
back.
I don't know that I wouldn't want to be the VP. I
No.
mean, it's very
I
much a
wouldn't.
ceremonial position, but
I don't want to be in charge of the border.
right. Well, yeah, no one's in charge of the border right now except
Yeah.
Governor Abbott declared a state of emergency. He enacted a basically a, I don't know what it's called. I have to look into that. He is like he's taken over that problem because the federal government is not doing its job.
I saw he added a new fourth city to his list of locations for the buses. Philadelphia.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So
Yeah.
anywho,
He's
You
just
should ship them all to Pete.
yeah,
Pete Buttigieg.
yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I really Greg Abbott is a bulldog when it comes to that kind of stuff.
he's on it. You know what I thought was interesting? Texas had like the largest amount of mail-in votes this year.
That is interesting.
Well, I think part of it might be like they have several military bases there, but there's military bases everywhere, so I don't know. I was surprised to see that though because they're obviously like generally conservative state overall.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to see that.
So going back to this for a second, because I got the clarification, I just pulled it up. Texas Governor Abbott tells Biden he is invoking the invasion clause on Constitution because of the border failures.
Yikes.
He is literally
Yikes.
not playing anymore. So it's
I
about
mean, it's a crazy problem. My grandma used to live in Mission, Texas, right on the border.
Yeah.
And her friend who was a farmer, they would like knock down his fence and like
Yeah.
his cattle would get out because there was people crossing the border and they wouldn't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
he put ladders up
Yeah.
and they just came in because there was nothing done about it. This was granted like literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
well, it's been an issue for decades.
I'm sure it's just getting worse, if anything, though.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are at the end of this segment. We're up against the break. We will be back. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some fun things and some interesting things as well. We hope you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back, guys. We have been having a fun time on the break. It was an amazing time. We got to talking a little bit about something that came up. It's kind of controversial, if I don't say so myself. If I do say so myself,
You do say so.
I think
whatever.
you're about to say so.
It's too early in the morning for this, but yeah. So I mean, Elevation Worship, Elevation Church, awesome. I love what they do,
Love them.
but
Not their ticket prices.
not their ticket prices. They're doing this Elevation tour. They did basically all over the Midwest and West, and then did they do an East Coast tour yet, or is that in the summer? I think that's.
I mean,
in the
they
summer.
did previously.
Okay.
But
The ticket prices. I mean, so $5,000 for a front row seat.
What?
Yeah.
Did you say 5,000?
5,000
Okay.
for a
there's
front
no
row
need.
for a
yeah,
front row
the
seat.
floor is like
The floor.
$450
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
So
a seat.
I don't really understand the
Unreal.
thought process here. I do understand that now. I learned this actually a couple days ago that Ticketmaster, if you use Ticketmaster, so Taylor Swift is doing this new tour. And I only know that because my fiance is like obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, but their tickets were only they maxed out at like $500.
Yep.
Okay, that was the max that Taylor Swift is allowing them to charge. Now, on top of that, though, Ticketmaster does charge a 20% or 30% fee.
Right.
So the price ended up being, I don't know what they paid, but like I did a little
cost analysis.
Yeah, cost analysis. And it was like $200 processing fee with taxes and all that for Ticketmaster. So a $500 ticket would be $700.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what happens though when you use a service.
Right, but $5,000.
Okay, that's
Can
crazy.
anybody explain to me what? I just am a little disappointed in that. And I'm not, judging, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
Well, you have to make money, obviously.
Sure.
But that much money, your profit
you do?
margin is going to be crazy. You have to make some
mean,
to travel.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. You have to
there's
cover
there's
your expenses.
cost.
there is cost, but I'm just it just
But that's
shook
ridiculous.
me. It shook me up.
That profit margin's got to be through the roof.
I don't know.
One thing,
Yeah.
okay, that we don't take into consideration is, and I watched a documentary about this last night, so it's a little
Okay,
bit fresh on my
expert.
mind.
Okay.
Is how streaming has completely changed
Yeah, it
everything.
has.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on Napster and all that stuff.
Oh, gosh.
And how it
Wow,
how
take me
literally
back.
changed everything. So right, an artist gets a tenth of a penny per play off of like Spotify.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so for every 10 plays they get $1, right?
Right.
And then so
It quantifies from
it
there.
quantifies from
Yep.
there. So doing a little bit of math, right? Like if you were to buy a CD from them back in the day, that artist would get probably $15 for that
Per-
CD
okay.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And so per CD, it would take them just to get $15. It would
Oh,
take
wow.
them how many plays on Spotify just to get the purchase price of one CD,
It'd
and that
be
CD
150.
right? And they're making maybe
Yeah.
half of that, maybe
Right.
a quarter of that, or whatever. So they're making $7 off that CD, and
Well,
so
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
so
ahead.
7,000 plays
Wow.
just to make
Yeah.
one, so they're not making money off their music anymore.
Mm.
They're not.
true.
They literally can't make money off their music. They have to make money off the live show.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
front row
only
seat.
reason, and they're scraping by making money off the live show. So
Yeah, production costs are through the roof.
Right.
Venue costs
literally
are through the roof.
everything's through
Travel.
the roof, and
Travel.
so we do have to take that in consideration. But where, as a
Yeah.
Christian,
Yeah.
Mhm.
as a ministry,
Yeah.
do we draw that line? I can see a Taylor Swift charging $5,000 for a ticket.
But she doesn't.
Which the
I know
irony
she
is
doesn't,
she didn't
but I could
stream her
see
music
I
for
could
a long
see
time.
them. I
Yeah.
could see them doing that. But at what point do you sell? At what point do the record companies have control over all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not independently signed. Elevation's not independently
they're not.
signed, and so at what point do they have a say over all of that? But at what point do you say we stand up for what we believe in
Right.
America and we fight
Right.
against all these things that aren't right?
Right.
At what point, as a Christian, you say that's not right? I'm not going to charge my people.
Yes.
I'm not going to charge people that I'm trying to minister to.
I think that's my thing.
And it's worship. Like at the base of this, it's a worship opportunity. And so $5,000 for a worship session in the front row of this production. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a firm believer that I hate it when people are like, oh, well, that's like what churches do, but like that's church production. That's church social media. That's church policies. That's church HR. That's no. Why does it have to be less excellent or less than valid because it's
Yep.
got to be in the church, right? So I think there's a point in that, which means if their music is worth or the quality is professional grade, and it is. I've seen them live, not for $5,000, but I've seen them live, and they are good, right? They have excellence. They have all these things. They do have costs they have to cover. I'm just making the point that I think it was maybe Luke Bryan or somebody like that who said he would never charge. He would never allow his fans to pay more than a certain point. And guess what? He packed out these stadiums,
Yep.
and the ticket master and the venues had to comply with what he wanted. You want to know why?
'Cause he
he
refused
led the charge
otherwise.
on that. So that's what I'm kind of getting
Yeah, and I
at.
think you have to reach a certain point in your
Sure.
stardom to like be able to have that kind of
Influence.
pull.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not gonna go see him.
Yeah.
I can't afford to go
Oh,
see him.
Oh, Lord.
No.
But like truly, like it's sad to me. This is what's sad to me.
Okay.
If I'm just gonna be 100% honest, this is what's sad to me, that as a Christian church, we don't experience that God on a weekly basis. The God that we're willing to pay $450
Yeah.
for that seat for one night. We're so excited to experience, because we're paying for an experience.
Sure.
We're so excited to experience that God, that Holy Spirit, that power, that movement, that we're going to pay $450. We are not seeing that on a weekly basis. If we were seeing that kind of God in our church buildings on a Sunday morning, we would not be paying for any kind of concert like that. As we shouldn't be paying for that. The fact that's what makes me so upset about it. Is that we're failing so much as the capital C church that we have bigger churches coming in to give us what we're so desperately needing that we're willing to pay money for it. We should not have to pay money to experience God. We should be experiencing him in our church buildings, the same power. Now, our worship teams might not be as good, but guess what? Multi-Tracks is out there. Hello. We're using their guitar players on the weekends. Most churches are. And so but that's the same Holy Spirit. There's no difference. And we elevate these nights.
No pun
we
intended.
Elevate conferences. We elevate that God that shows up there because we're not seeing that God show up in our churches on Sunday mornings. There's a problem in this. The problem isn't necessarily how much they're charging in ticket prices. The problem is
the mindset.
Why the heck are we not seeing that kind of God on our weekends?
Well, it could be that they're not that people are not getting excited about the right thing. I don't think that there is any difference in an elevation worship set versus what we would do on the weekend in terms of quality. I mean, sure, they have tons of musicians and they have, and that's like probably their full-time deal, but I'm just saying I've been to elevation. I've experienced what that feels like. You have too. But then I experienced what we do on the weekend, and to me, it's the same spirit because it's
up to you
right.
as a person.
I'm not idolizing
you come
though
in with the same expectation.
Right. I'm not idolizing Pastor Jason. I'm not idolizing Pastor Stephen. I'm not idolizing. I'm worshiping vertically.
So if you are a Christian, you are so dry that you're willing to just be like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to go get filled up, and this is the only place I need to go get filled up. You need to do some self-reflection, and you need to allow God to, because you need to come in with that expectancy because he's there. He's in the room. 2 or 3 are gathered in his name. He's going to be there.
That's good. Well, that's good stuff. Yeah, take it or leave it. We
love elevation at the end of the day.
We do.
Sure.
It's just a little confusing, and as I always like to say, in my personal life, I report, you decide. So we don't want to act like we got all our stuff
together. We're working that out. I'm
Yeah.
working that out on the air.
So, but hey, really quick, I was walking through your office the other day, Becca, and I noticed it's November 16th. No, it's not. It was November 16th when I walked through.
Yeah.
And you had your stinking Christmas tree up. What is going on? We've got.
Boo.
Where's the boo button?
Whoa.
There we go.
Oh, I don't know. It's one of these buttons over
Eric.
here. What's the deal with this?
I just want to point out.
There it is.
Until Thanksgiving gets a fun tree to decorate, I'm going to keep putting my Christmas tree up after Halloween because there's so much work going into Christmas decorations.
Oh, my goodness.
That it's too much work for only 25 days of display.
Okay.
I disagree.
It's all about your return on investment. If I'm putting all these hours in, I want to enjoy it longer. ROI, people.
Let's digress.
I disagree.
But hey, why don't you text us what your opinion is on this matter? Text us at 314-924-4215. Let us know. Should we be putting up Christmas trees before Thanksgiving, like Becca, or should we be normal and put it up after Thanksgiving? But guys, we're having fun here for real. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning. You can hear us again tomorrow on Sunday at 8 a.m. right here at 93.3. Guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time with Pastor Jason Gaszak.